girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I came through tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only come for the secret outside, because I want you to lie. That the only reason I came through tonight is because I really like you, and I can know how I did. What do I remember your mind then? The latest the girls will get tired, just why just tell me that you feel like I do. Because I really like you.
Hi, this is Jessica Javens Talk, a podcast that helps you transform your life inside out into a life you truly love. Welcome to season 1, and I'm very excited today. I met somebody new that has shared a little bit about a world that I did not know, but it really inspired me, and I really, really want to share with you who are listening to this episode. This young man has a background and a mix of difficult situations and amazing things and transformations that he was able to do with his life. And I would love to welcome Sqoot Darrell Smith. Hello, Sqoot.
Hey, how you doing today? How you doing this evening, actually?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you accepted to come to my podcast and that we can chat a little bit more and share with my viewers a little bit about your story. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, one, thanks for having me here. It's always an honor to get on other people's podcasts and, network and share stories. A little bit about myself is born and raised in Chicago. Went off to the military, retired out the military, began writing music while I was in the military, and started my real success, about 6 years ago, around 2019, in music and also in real estate investing. So that's what I've been doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So there's something that you told me earlier that I want to go into, which is, how did you actually go through finding yourself, that version throughout your artistic journey?
Well, the first thing is I had to make a lot of mistakes, and just being repetitive. Like, when I started really taking rap serious, it's because someone actually heard me rapping while I was on my deployment to Iraq in 2006. And I would go to his trailer. He have this little program on his computer, and he'll just play some beats, and I just rap to it. And it came from a one-time thing to me doing it every day, to where I started gaining attention in certain aspects. And even though I had a commander that really didn't care for it, I think he got used to it, and he became a fan eventually.
That's awesome.
So that's where it started. And then around 2012, when I met a lot of other musicians that was already signed to Def Jam and Interscope, and work with their producers and stuff like that. And that's how I got started with it.
And tell me this, for you to be able to be doing this or rapping, you probably have a history of what you enjoyed or what you were exposed to, right? So that was probably influencing you at this point to decide to rap and how to rap.
Definitely. The funny thing about it is, I remember when I first started linking up with the other musicians that they wanted me to talk about the military guns, and I wasn't really comfortable yet because I was in my early stages of my recovery as far as with PTSD, because I was in the infantry. So I have real live experience combat as far as doing the stuff that people play video games like Call of Duty. So I've done that stuff in real life. So it was kind of hard for me to talk about it. I really don't talk about it a lot, but that's what they wanted from me, and I didn't want to give them that yet. Like, I'll throw little bits of pieces in, but it's like, it's a journey pretty much, and I had to really figure out who I was as the artist, as far as me being Darrell Smith or Sqoot, versus me going and sounding like people that influenced me, like Tupac, 50, and other artists in the past. So like, it took a while for me to come into my own, and the biggest thing was me finding out who I was outside of the rapper or the guy. I had to find out who I really was. And that's when I was able to really just make my music and find my truth, pretty much.
How long did that take? If you had to just give me a ballpark, how long did it take you from starting from that point that you were recording, and people start calling people's attention to this point where you became your version and comfortable and happy with that?
You know what? It took about 12 years.
Wow. Listen to this. This is very interesting. We're living at a time of everything has to be immediate. Everything has to be short and fast. Everything I have to learn in 5 minutes. By the way, a 5-minute video is too long. Everything is instant, right? Instant fast food, instant screen, instant gratification, instant everything. Lose weight, lose 100 pounds in, I don't know, 30 days or whatever, right? So, and it's a very dangerous belief that is being put out there. And I love that you're sharing this because it puts into perspective the reality of success. Success does not come overnight. It does need consistency and intention. And I think that you demonstrated that in our previous talk and on this one, that you had to keep working on it. So did you ever feel like during that process of finding that version that you just like, oh, this is just too much, or you got to disconnect to it or wanting to give up?
Definitely. Like, it took me 12 years. Like, I was, when, you think back, if I go back 12 years from today, where I'm at right now and being as old as I am, like, if I go back, I always wanted things done a certain way in a certain time frame. I put goals in a time frame that I got to do it in. Like, the funny thing about that is if we go back about 12, 13, 14 years ago, for the people that say I wasn't going to do anything, that I was just talking, but yet I lived it now, it's like, I look at it like, you know what? You guys didn't see it back then, but I always saw it. It just took a certain amount of time. And yeah, there's times that I doubted myself, but sometimes you got to doubt yourself to find that courage to keep doing it because it's your vision. No one sees it. And even if it takes a year, 5, 10, maybe 15 years, it's still your vision. It's just the timing. It's all about the timing. If the time's not right, then the time's not right. The star's going to align. So, and that's just something, I definitely struggled with that part. I was very impatient, but I was, I never gave up though. I never said no. I say I'd take a break. But then when I could tell myself I'm taking a break, I really didn't. I was persistent,
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that you're a very high achiever. You like to get things done. You love that. You're known for that. So I understand why you wanted to get there fast. So for the people who maybe identify themselves that way too, that they want fast results or that they might feel anxious about it. I think the key here is the consistency and the vision.
Yeah.
That part there is very, very powerful. People underestimate that. And we were just talking about this on another episode. How do you think that athletes walk into the court or the field or the track? How? They already see themselves winning. That's you have to have that vision. If you go with the mindset that you're going to lose or that you're going to fall, bingo. You're not you're halfway there just by doing your vision. It's so important because that's how you know what actions to take, which is what's going to take you there. You agree with that?
I totally agree. And one of the biggest things I've always done is I always like, if you go upstairs to my office is upstairs. I don't feel like going up there, but I have a goal sheet and I've always had a goal sheet. I got a notebook and I got a vision board.
That's awesome.
And I write down what I want to do, how I'm going to do it, and how long it's going to take me. Even if it takes longer than I expected, at least I'm going to be able to do it. It may take a time, but that's something I have for myself because I'm a late bloomer, but at the same time, I'm still, persistent. I'm human, and I know I might make some mistakes, but the biggest way you can learn something is by failing. You got to fail yourself to success.
Absolutely. I like to share sometimes how the famous people that we admire and look up to, and we think they had it easy. They were put down by people in their same field. For instance, Oprah Winfrey, when she, I think, went to television, they said, "You're not television material." People who worked in that business, and look at her now. So you're going to receive all kinds of different obstacles or negative feedback. That doesn't mean that you're in the wrong path. Much to the opposite, it might mean that you're in the right path, that you're building up that resilience and learning from that mistakes. That's huge. That every time that you fail, for me, I see it today as feedback. It's basically feedback. And you can take that and use it as a stepping stone. Another question I have for you is, I know that you've been through different kind of challenges. You mentioned one already. I know you have challenges when you were young, and then in the military, in the capacity that you're working in is probably the worst, the most challenging, the most difficult, and the one that's traumatic. How were you able to overcome these things and live in a life that you now love with gratitude?
Well, I can say that I still deal with some of the same issues. The only difference is I found different ways of coping with it, and it took time for me to do that, you know. And this plays in with the whole, as I said earlier, with the how long it took me to be successful in music. That was part of the journey. I had to work on myself, work on my mind, because a lot of veterans, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna be straight honest with you, is that sometimes we think the world's supposed to change for us, but the world don't care. You know, we have to change and adjust to the world, because everybody's going to do what they want to do regardless. So, yeah, it was a struggle, and it took me a while, and that did affect my progress in my music. But I think anytime you're dealing with some type of recovery, it's going to take time, and sometimes you might create some of the best work you've done because you've been working on yourself. You know, and when I say that, I mean, like, you know, I remember a few songs. The song I wrote called "Mercenary." I remember going to the VA and getting denied benefits, and the same day I went to the studio, made that song, and that became a hit in Chicago.
Wow.
So it's like, and some of my best music that my family loved, like outside of the military stuff that I do, the songs I make, I wrote some of them songs when I was in a PTSD program, an inpatient program for like 3 months. I wrote some of my best stuff there because I was recovering. I was doing the work. So I was able to reflect on the hurt, the fear, the sadness, and all that. I was able to really find out, like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I need to be talking about, because they're not going to get to know me if I don't share this. You know, like the fans or just the critics, whatever. Like, I never just want to be the tough guy. I want to be the honest guy. Even if you don't like me. Like, I remember years ago, I used to try so hard to be like, now I don't even care. Like me or hate me, I'm still going to be me regardless. So I don't even care. So I think that was one of the biggest things, is that I tried so hard when I was younger for people to like me. Now, I mean, as I got older, I stopped caring a long time ago. I was like, I don't care. And that's when I started setting those little goals. Like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, after I write the song, I need to register. After I register it, I need to do marketing. Okay, what are my goals for marketing? Oh, you know what? I want to do 1 million streams. Okay, I've done 1 million streams many times already. What we do next now? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And it just takes time, man. It's not overnight. It never was overnight for me.
No, and it's not, and that's the perspective that we have to have and change back, especially for the generations before us. You know, really. Yeah. I really love the different things that you had to do to overcome, and how you embraced each step of the way. So you worked with what you had at that time, and then what is the next step? So you were not wasting that moment. You were still being a visionary through the pain and working through it and using everything that you can, which is obviously is going to lead you somewhere, which has led you to where you are today. That's amazing. Some people get lost in the process, and that's very impressive that you did that. So I know that this is going to inspire many people who are listening here today, because we all go through things in life sooner or later, and this story can definitely help them to have the right perspective and get their grid together. Now, jumping to your changing the subject a little bit to another part of your life, because we're talking here about a life that you truly love. So we can't talk just about one thing. So there's another part of your life that was very interesting to me, which is what I stepped in less than 2 years ago, out of a complete conservative, comfortable, fear-based life into something that you're starting to work with, which I'm passionate about. What aspect of the money freedom that you have now has helped you to be successful? So your financial part, how did you stir up to be where you are right now? What was your vision and what you're up to right now?
Well, I can tell you, I kind of saw, I say about 2017, 2018. I got tired of just existing. And I was like, you know what? There's music, but there's also, I need to be thinking about my children too, because I'm a father, I have kids, and, I'm also a husband as well. So at the time I wasn't a husband, but I'm a husband now. So like, I kind of knew what I wanted in life. I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to take care of all my family members, my kids. So I said, how can I position myself? Because I've always had that fear of, okay, if this music don't work out, what do I do then? What do I do next? So I guess having that, I'm not going to say just fear. I'm just going to say just being open-minded to other possibilities, having that, and, taking a risk, especially when I knew nothing about anything. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If I don't know something about something, I'm going to ask you, like, hey, I don't know much about this, but can you show me or give me some information about so-and-so? And that's what I did with real estate. I literally just took a risk and went somewhere that I didn't know where I was going. I was going to visit a family member and saw some properties that I thought was interesting and Googled a real estate investor meeting. And once I did that, I really went to the meeting maybe 4 or 5 days later and found a mentor. And that's when I actually got started in investing in real estate.
That's awesome. I love that because I was very scared for a long time. I was working in corporate for 17 plus years, and I knew that environment so well that I didn't know how. I knew I needed to change and I needed to grow, but I didn't know how. And I was only having everything almost or quite just all my eggs in one basket. Okay. And of course, some of the benefits that they offer you, which is retirement plan and so forth, but that's still very limited. So when I finally, after so many years, was able to get out of that situation so I could fulfill my vision, that's when I started stepping into adventuring myself into the uncomfortable. But I had to go through that in order for me to achieve the vision of me growing and not having to depend on perhaps the dream of somebody else, because that's what you do when you work for somebody else. You're following their dream, not yours. Mm-hmm. And also getting out of that comfort situation where you're relying on that paycheck only, and you're a slave to that. And it's like the rat race, right? And there you go. So I changed that so much that it changed me completely. And now I absolutely love that part. And I'm so happy that you are venturing that way too. And how much beneficial is that? For instance, I was just talking to another person on another podcast, and they were saying, if you get a degree, even a doctor's degree, you can't pass that down to your child.
Sure.
But if you work with investments and you do all of that, like you went there, you went after the information, getting the right mentor, educating yourself, asking questions, not being afraid of asking questions. You're getting all of this, and you can teach that tool for your children, and they now have, without having to learn maybe from a degree or something, but they have it from you, and they can start making money and understanding that and getting those benefits, not even counting what you're making and passing down. So hands down, this is amazing. I really love that. What would you say now? since we're talking about family, what else would you say has helped you with your family now, this quadrant of your children, your wife? What are some of the ingredients that you were able to apply to the dynamics that you are now that you're so grateful for?
Well, one thing about me, I'm a straight shooter. My first day with my wife, and she's right here. She's actually listening to her little headphones and stuff. She's actually behind me over there chilling. When our first date, I told her, I said, look, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm like, I actually have real intentions. She was like, really? I say, so like, I guess me being assertive, but also being able to learn and also teach at the same time. Especially when it come to my kids, like I got a son and a daughter, so they're two different dynamics. One's a male, the other one's a female. So I love them the same, but I love them a little differently just because they're different people and different, sexes, I guess. Mm-hmm. So my daughter gives me the run for my money. My son was giving me a run for my money, but I had to put him in check a few times. Got to lay the paws on him. He's getting bigger. He's about almost my height now. So it's like, okay. Because when he was smaller, he was too small. Now it's like, all right, player. So and really just, introducing them to, having a faith, worry about, think about finances, and not just finance, but family. Those are my things: faith, family, and finance. And also fitness. Because
love it.
Dude, you gotta take care of your body. You can't, you gotta be mentally stable, physically, emotionally, all that in order to take care of your family. Because if you're not that, then how your family gonna get taken care of?
Thank you for saying that. Absolutely. If you're not taking care of yourself, you won't have the energy, the health, the mental stability, the emotional support, the spiritual support that they deserve because you don't have it to give it.
Exactly. Yep.
That's amazing. Do you think your wife wants to come on?
Babe, you want to say hi to the no? She did this.
It's Friday night.
She's like, look, man, I just got off work earlier.
No worries. No worries.
It was kind of funny because she works upstairs. I'd be like, you mean in a bedroom? Okay, sure. But anyway. Yeah.
So continue. Just tell me a little bit more. What is it now? Because you went through so many traumatic situations in your life, and now you're living the life and the transformation. What else would you like to leave our listeners with? Because you talked about the whole quadrants. If you have to leave a takeaway to them right now, what is one thing? Because you mentioned before also awareness. You mentioned influence. Mm-hmm. Networking. So there's a couple of more things there that I think that you can bring out for our listeners to see the importance of a couple of different things.
Well, I can say, do not believe in somebody else's idea or opinion of you, because they're not going to see what you already see already. They're not going to see your vision. They're not going to feel the experience you're going to feel. They're not going to share none of those things. It's going to be you. So to sum it up, I was going to say, just focus, be selfish. Don't be self-serving. It's a difference. Being self-serving is what, cheaters do. But if you're selfish enough to love yourself enough to persist at what you want to complete in your life, your dream, to live your dreams, you may not have it all at once, but you can have it all separately, which means you can actually have it all.
Right.
So just stay focused, really, and don't listen to all the naysayers. That's somebody else's fear. And fear is false appearing real. It's not yours, it's theirs.
That's right. That's very good. When you finally discover that, you stop getting offended, stop getting hurt, and it's their right, but it's their journey, it's their belief. They have to get through. It has nothing to do with me. And you able to separate that, that's freedom.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I'm very, very happy that you were able at a young age just already figure that out. Some people take their whole life to figure that out.
Hey, time is not on our side, and that's something we don't have a lot of. Sometimes you never know, so you just gotta focus. Just really focus in on what you really want out of life.
Thank you. Now, on your social media, do you also share some of that music that you created? Is that something that people can actually follow you on? What do you typically post on your social media platform right now? What kind of material?
So on my social media, I have music as well. You can listen to my music. I also have I do little rants about just being positive, because I tell the truth about myself and what I'm experiencing, what someone else could be experiencing. And I try to find, solutions and stuff like that as well, because I've been there. I may not do everything everyone can go through, because one, I'm not a woman, so I will never know what a woman goes through. However, I can understand it, as long as I'm educated about it, so
Right.
it's music, it's rants, and it's also, education about finances and ways you can, take care of your money. You don't have to just do a LLC. You can do a trust fund and all that stuff. So,
I love it.
all that stuff. But I'm on Facebook. My Facebook is Darrell Smith, which is my government name. On Instagram, it is Sqooty1, which is SQOOTY1. Same thing on Twitter. Let's see, what other ones I have? X is Sqooty1 as well, SQOOTY1. And then TikTok, it's Darrell Smith, my government name. So I post positive things, things that, keep people aware of what's going on, and also music. So I'm just really big on that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So everybody can go ahead and start following you and learning from you, from your experience. You are very inspirational. Thank you so much for coming in today. I had a great time talking to you, getting to know you. I'm definitely going to make sure I'm following all of your pages there. So we'll see each other again.
Awesome. And thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. So this is a show that's being brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice in the world that helped my wellness to be transformed. And this show is produced by the I Am Beast Network. My name is Jessica Javens, and this is Jessica Javens Talk.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easy for me. The only reason that I can do tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the secret outside, because I want you to